Hello, hello. I'll just give it a few more minutes to see if anyone is joining. Nice to see everyone. So just to let you know who on earth is talking to you. I'm Laura Stead, so I am the head of CIM here at Whyy. We've got one of our wonderful alumni and former learners, Millie, and then tucked out of sight like a true comms person. Matt, our head of comms, is just sat the other side of the screen. So I can see there's a few more people just coming into the waiting room, so we'll just give it a little minute or so before we get started. Everyone's on mute anyway, just to minimise any background noise. If you've got any questions, do feel free to use the chat function, and there'll be time for questions at the end as well. Use the chat, or we're a pretty small group, so feel free to unmute yourself as well. So the session is being recorded. For anyone that can't access it afterwards, we'll pop it on our YouTube channel, and we can send you out a copy of it as well, so you've got it for reference. So let's make a little start. I'm just going to share my screen with you. And here we go. So welcome to our marketing discovery session. As mentioned, I am Laura, and we've got Millie with us here today as well. So just to explain sort of my role here at Whyy. So I am the head of our CIM programs. I design our CIM programs, and I do a lot of delivery on the lion's share of delivery. In terms of kind of what qualifies me to do that, I'm a bit of a marketing dinosaur. So I have been working in marketing for just over 20 years. I am a chartered marketer, so I became chartered with the Chartered Institute of Marketing in 2007, and a couple of years ago I became a Chartered Institute of Marketing Fellow as well. Outside of Whyy, I am currently self-employed. I've been self-employed for 6 years as a marketing consultant and trainer. Prior to that, I've worked for some really, really lovely businesses as a marketing manager with some lovely teams, lovely colleagues, and some really lovely budgets sometimes as well. One of the things that we do here at Whyy is that all of our delivery team are industry practitioners that are sort of living and breathing their industry as well. So that is who I am. So now I'm going to hand over to Millie. What I've done, and I've blogged about this as well, so I'll send you a link to it afterwards. But after a little bit of soul searching in preparation for this, I came up with kind of a list of my hot tips for getting into marketing, really, or even progressing in marketing if you've already made a start. I'm not going to read these word for word. I will send you a copy of the blog afterwards. But one of the biggest things for me as a marketer, and based on my experiences, it's about actually doing. It's doing the things, it's practicing things, it's thinking out of the box and having that flexibility in the role that you've got to actually give things a go. I'm very much a kind of learn by doing person. And we're going to touch a little bit more, obviously, on that learning side of things today. So in your marketing career, there's lots of different routes to get qualified, and I'll chat about those. But once you've got that knowledge and those experiences, you can really kind of direct your career in any way. One of the bonuses with marketing as a profession is that you really can shape it around your own interests, passions, and the things that you really enjoy the most. There's obviously in marketing a lot of debate around generalist versus specialist, and both ways are absolutely fine. And it's also absolutely fine to change from a generalist to a specialist, and vice versa. Each path is unique. Your path into marketing or through marketing will be unique. And I think sort of as the marketing dinosaur in the room, I've kind of really learned, particularly over the past few years, that your marketing is great if you're enjoying it. And you get to enjoy it. I mainly feel like a happy marketer is one that's being fed. So I do encourage like my clients and learners to bring in snacks. But I really thrive as a marketer when I'm working on a campaign that I actually personally enjoy as well. And I think that's one of the joys about marketing in general. So enough about me, and I'm just going to pass you on to the wonderful, amazing, and always ever so stylish Millie Wilkinson.
Make me blush.
So Millie, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your apprenticeship journey, please?
Yeah, of course. So I'm Millie Wilkinson, the social media and communication assistant at Henry Boot. I've been with the company for just over 4 years now, and I originally started not doing marketing. I started in business admin after deciding that sixth form wasn't for me, and I just wanted to get into the workplace and get hands-on experience. And then the opportunity to join the communication marketing department came up, and I grabbed it with both hands, and that's how I ended up at Whyy.
Excellent. Tell me a little bit more about some of the things that you learned during your apprenticeship.
Loads. I learned so much. So I didn't have that much knowledge on marketing before I started at Whyy. And the first module we did was applied marketing, which gave you a really good basic understanding to then go on to complete the rest of your apprenticeship. But not only did I get loads of knowledge through workshops with you, Laura, I also got a lot of support from my team at Henry Boot. Any questions I had, they always answered them really well and explained things I didn't grasp the first time. So yeah, loads of things. I couldn't pick any.
So I'm going to ask you a really difficult question now. Sorry, I didn't prep you for this one, but it's just come to mind. I would like to know some of the things that you enjoy the most about working in marketing.
Every day's different, I would say. Every day's different. That's probably my favourite thing. Getting out and seeing people around the business, that's always a great thing. Well, not with many jobs you can go around and take pictures of people and get to meet them, which I really enjoy. So I think they're two of my favourite things.
So one of the things that Millie's not mentioned there is that she actually absolutely smashed her apprenticeship. She's very modest about it. And I'm interested to hear about where that apprenticeship is actually taking you now. So what have you progressed on to afterwards?
So since finishing at Whyy, I got a promotion at work, which was very exciting. And I've also started a degree level apprenticeship. And the apprenticeship I did with Whyy helped me a lot with that. So when I've enrolled into uni, I had exemption modules because I'd already covered them with you guys. So it gave me like an extra foot up when I started my degree.
That's brilliant. And I know that your line manager is on the call today. So can you tell us though where you feel your marketing career might go in the future?
I feel like it would definitely progress more down the social media route. I think that's where my passion lies, in all honesty. So I'd like to go down that route if possible.
That's great. Fantastic. Okay. So, Jackie, fellow marketing dinosaur, love it. Absolutely love it. Right, I just want to touch on the different ways that you can get your marketing calls and training. So I did mine, being the dinosaur that I am, as night school. So I was going to, when I came out of A-levels, I was actually going to do an art history degree. Like, I don't know why, I just thought I'd look edgy, maybe doing that, I'm not sure. The other career choice was a hairdresser, and I mean, that is still a bit of a regret of mine. Anyway, there are different routes that you can go into. So some marketers decide to go down like university routes. You can do a specific marketing degree, or others might do degrees that have got an element of marketing to it. So that tends to be kind of one of the more traditional routes. You know, I'm not going to go to the ins and outs of university, but there's an increasing amount of people that are deciding not to go down that uni route to try and prevent some of that student debt that you gain on the way. Another route that I tend to find speaking to lots of different marketers is that they've had a bit of a career pivot through their journey. I've got learners that have started out in journalism, events, fundraising, sometimes more of the kind of the business admin side of things, and have decided actually they've had a little bit of an opportunity in their role to do some marketing, and have realised that they've actually got an interest in it and a flair for it, and have decided to kind of switch paths, which is wonderful. In the current market, there are lots of opportunities to qualify doing distance learning, which can be a fantastic route for some people. It's something that we don't offer here exclusively at Whyy Change. Our ethos really, and the way that we know that our students and learners excel, is through that face-to-face experience and face-to-face interaction in the workshops. But there are many a distance learning programme to look at. And then last, but by no means least, there is the wonderful apprenticeship. And I know I'm massively biased, but I really wish that if these would have been available when I qualified, I would have jumped at the chance. So I did, I think it was like 5 years worth of night school. Literally, the session started at 1 and they ended at 10. And my employer made me work all that time back. And it was rock hard. It was so hard to balance work and the extra hours and giving the time back to that employer as well. So if the marketing apprenticeship had been invented back then in the Stone Age, it would have just been an absolute dream. So I'm going to chat to you a little bit more about marketing apprenticeships and what they look like. So Millie, I'm hoping you agree with this one. Yeah. Like they're absolutely nothing like The Apprentice. Like could not be further removed from Shugs and his boardroom. There's lots of different kind of myths around apprenticeships, and hopefully I'll kind of demystify some of those today. So an apprenticeship, it's just a way of learning. You are learning though whilst you are in work at the same time. So you're in a job role, and the method that you've decided to get trained is through an apprenticeship model. Now, you are doing a combination of what we call on-the-job training. So you are doing things in your workplace. An apprenticeship really gives you the flexibility to maybe try things that are new to you based on the skills that you've learned in the workshops. There is no age restrictions. So there's a little bit of a myth that apprentices need to be, you know, school leavers. Absolutely not. So we have apprentice learners of all kind of age demographics, that kind of thing. It really isn't just for kind of school leavers at all. There is, and this is really nice that Millie mentioned something about this earlier. So there is a minimum of a 6-hour commitment per week. So you and your employer have to agree this. You need to be available to take a minimum of 6 hours out of your working week to focus on your apprenticeship. Millie, did you ever just do 6 hours a week?
No. Very rare.
Tell me a little bit about what you were doing in your kind of 6 hours plus.
So if we had an assignment, I'd focus on my assignment. If it was a quieter week, do some extra reading, some research to help the assignment or whatever topic we're on at the moment. I always blocked it out on my calendar at work to make sure that I got that 6 hours and it was my protected time for learning. But yes, I did have to do other hours after work or whenever I got a few spare moments. So.
There are lots of different what we call standards. These are apprenticeship standards, and we'll send you a link afterwards to the apprenticeship website so you can browse the standards. We deliver several marketing standards. I've not detailed them today, which sounds ridiculous for an open evening, mainly because one of the standards that we deliver, the Institute of Apprenticeships, is looking to just change that slightly, but either way, we'll be delivering them. So a standard kind of outlines, it's almost like looking at a job description, and it tells you in that standard the things that the Institute of Apprenticeships expects you to be doing at that level. So currently we have a digital marketer standard, we have a marketing exec standard, and we have a marketing manager standard as well. It's the digital marketer one that might change to multi-channel marketer. It's just in review at the moment. And you basically look at those standards and see whether there's one that aligns more closely to the work that you're doing now, but also in the kind of direction of travel that your career is going in. An apprenticeship is an accredited qualification, so when you get to the end of it, you are fully qualified as a digital marketer, a marketing exec, or a marketing manager, or a multi-channel marketer when that finally comes out. So how will you learn? We have workshops here once a week. So you'll be required to come to lovely Whyy Change HQ. We are based at the New York Stadium in Rotherham. Really nice space. You had a grand tour this morning.
I did, yes.
Nice. We've got a lovely kitchen. And you will have, it's roughly about a half-day workshop each week to get your knowledge in there. You will have lots of work-based projects and mini projects to do. So we don't teach, you can probably tell this from the way that I'm coming across in this presentation, it's not like lecture style. They're really interactive workshops and they're focused around mini projects and work-based projects that can actually kind of add value to you and your employer back in the workplace. We have lots of gorgeous keynote speakers. So we have specialists come in and talk on specific topics. That could be anything from someone coming in from an SEO agency. We had a colleague of mine talking about copywriting. We've had social media, we've had design. We've pretty much like had the lot really. But only like it's quite a prestigious opportunity to be a keynote on one of my workshops. So we get industry coming in. We also do the odd school trip. So in a few weeks' time, the current cohort, we're all off to the Sheffield DM all-day conference. So I'll be acting like tour guide Barbie and making sure that they're getting the most out of that experience because we have paid for them to go. So I will ensure that they will have learnt as much as they possibly can do. You then have your CIM assessments. I'll chat to you a little bit more about those CIM assessments. But each standard that we deliver includes 2 CIM awards. So like Millie said, she'd spend time focusing on her assignments. 2 of Millie's awards were assignment based. And then at the end of the programme, we go through a process that we call endpoint assessment. And that is a process where an assessor, an external assessor, verifies that, yes, you are competent and working to that standard, that they're happy to sign off that you now all have all the knowledge, skills and behaviours to be working at that marketing exec level or marketing manager level, whatever standard it is. Depending on the standard that you are studying, the endpoint assessment can look slightly different. But once you've selected, or once we and your employer have selected a standard, we can then look at what the endpoint assessment entails. So we've got lots of learners going through endpoint assessment at the minute, which is a really exciting time. In fact, Matt, who's hidden out of the way, is halfway through his marketing manager endpoint assessment at the moment. And we had a learner last week, and we found out that she just got a distinction in her endpoint assessment as well. So that's just amazing. When it comes to finding out or figuring out what the right standard is for you, a few things to kind of think about are your current skills and knowledge. So an apprenticeship needs to give you significant new knowledge and skills. So if, for example, you have already got a degree in marketing, it would be really difficult for us to justify to the Institute of Apprenticeships that you're going to gain new knowledge through a marketing apprenticeship with us. So if you're already super experienced, the apprenticeship route is not for you. We need to be able to evidence that you're going to get new things out of this. Some of it will depend on the job that you're in at the minute and what that job entails, the kind of things that you're working on and working towards. As I mentioned earlier, like one of the joys of marketing is that you can really craft your career around some of the things that you want to do. You'll be a little bit selfish about it. So you might have particular interests in certain themes of marketing, or you might have an aspiration to go down a certain route, like Millie and a social media route, and we can factor that in as well. We absolutely need your employers' commitment. So this is a collaborative approach. It's a three-way. There is us as a training provider, there's the apprentice, and then the employer as well. We absolutely need to be sure that your employer is committed to supporting you in the same way that Dan at Henry Boo was committed to supporting Millie on her journey. And your learning style, like if distance learning is for you, and you're not the kind of person that wants to go somewhere each week and do face-to-face, then we're not for you. That is absolutely cool. I know for one, I would be terrible at distance learning. I wouldn't do it. In fact, you know what? I did a few months ago, I did my mental health first aid thing via distance learning. Oh, and I just could not motivate myself to do it at all. I was like literally the worst student.
Yeah, that's one of the things I valued about Whyy was having that face-to-face interaction. And obviously you do half a day workshop and then you've got another half a day to do whatever assignments you need to do or extra learning. And even in that extra half a day, like it was so nice to pop in and discuss things if I didn't get it. Like I really valued the face-to-face.
Yeah. One of the things we do as well, which is really nice, and we've got some learners on site doing it today, like they've not had taught lessons for ages, they're going through EPA, but they're still coming here and popping in to use the space as their kind of focused time, and the whole team are on hand to support them if they've got any questions. It's very much an open door kind of place, really. In fact, I can see there's another person on this call. We're having a conversation as to when they finish their apprenticeship, like how we can figure out that they can still come to the office because they're going to really miss him. And that's a common thing for our apprentices. So I thought I'd just touch on like what is the CIM, what is the Chartered Institute of Marketing. So we are really proud to be an accredited CIM study centre. I have been with the CIM since those night school days. So I started those in 2002. They are the largest community of marketers worldwide. They have over 30,000 members, which is absolutely huge. And of that, just over 3,000 of those are chartered marketers. In my experience, the CIM qualifications are really sought after by employers. They are one of the leading marketing qualifications in the world, worldwide. And it's a really well-respected institution. We have decided, and we do this with all our apprenticeship standards here, to add on the CIM accredited qualifications to our apprenticeships. We don't have to. We could just deliver you a marketing apprenticeship and leave it at that. But we know that when you are working in industry, it's really important to have the accreditation as well. It's really important that should you wish to, you should do this, you can go down that chartered marketer route as well, because that's something that really stands you in good stead when you're carving that marketing career. The CIM have some really good resources, and I must admit, even before I joined Whyy, I would still use the CIM area for blogs, guides, templates, webinars, that kind of thing. They're really, really good, and that's why we incorporate it as part of the apprenticeship framework. So just to kind of chat about how that works. So when you're on an apprenticeship with us, a marketing apprenticeship, we will include in that 2 of your CIM awards. That depends on which standard you're doing and at what level. We also, because we're lovely, we will pay for your first year of CIM student membership, and we will also pay for 2 CIM assessments. So when you do go to submit your assignments or do your exam for the CIM, we'll pay for your first attempt at that. Now, let's talk about, well, who on earth is going to pay for this then? Millie, did you have to pay for anything for it?
No.
No? Matt, have you paid anything?
No.
So, very, very kindly, the government will pay for your apprenticeship. So this is part of what we call the Apprenticeship Levy. So UK-based employers that have a pay bill of over £3 million pay into a levy pot. That money is collected by the government, and they spend it on people doing apprenticeships. If your business does have a pay bill of over £3 million, like yay for them, that means that if they put you on an apprenticeship, if they've still got some money left in their pot, they'll not need to pay a single penny. It will all be paid out of their levy pot. If you are a business that is not quite at that £3 million pay bill yet, you can still access money from that levy pot as well. It's like free money. Amazing. You just pay what we call a co-investment of 5%. That will depend on standards. I think if we take like the marketing exec, for example, the co-investment works out about 450 quid, which, for a whole apprenticeship and your CIM included in that is like pretty amazing, really. So yeah, government on that one. So yeah, we do offer our CIM programs commercially separately as well. I'm not focusing on those today. So if for some reason you can't go down that apprenticeship route but still want to get your CIM quals, that is something that we do offer here, but you will need to pay the full commercial rate for those. That's a different conversation. What I have done is slipped on a little cheeky little QR code there, because Matthew has been tirelessly collecting Google reviews as part of his marketing plan for the past 12 months. And there's 55 absolutely glowing comments on there. So yeah, don't just take our word for the way that we do things at Whyy. Speak to our learners and see what they say about us as well. Who are Whyy? For those of you who don't know, we are an independent training provider. We don't just do marketing, we do lots of other standards, management and leadership, CIPD, quality, lots of different ones. I'd say the team are fairly friendly.
Definitely. More than friendly. They're lovely.
We're a lovely bunch, even if I say so myself. We've got some amazing, just amazing staff. They're just brilliant across all programs. And because of that, we attract just lovely learners, really, really nice learners that most of the time we don't want to see them leave. There's a few that me and Emma, our MD, have even offered to adopt because we like them so much. We are based at the New York Stadium. We've got a really nice little training facility. It's hard. It's a hard working environment, but pretty relaxed at the same time.
Definitely. Going back to your earlier comment about snacks were always encouraged to bring to sessions. So
yeah,
work hard and have your snacks.
Food is very high on the agenda at Whyy Change always. On a more serious note, we have an incredible sort of backup team as well. So in terms of looking after our learners' well-being, whether that is in a physical or mental capacity, that is one of our absolute passions. We are super supportive of all our learners. We're a small training provider, so every member of staff really gets to know learners across all different programs. We're a complete open door place. You can come and chat to any member of staff about anything that you might have any concerns with whatsoever, and that tends to be kind of extended to your employers as well. Like if they ever need like a little bit of a chat about things, like tap into us and our expertise as a resource. So that's a little bit about us. Again, it's not a blatant sales pitch, but we're lovely. We're really lovely. And Matt's even award winning. And Emery. So we've got quite a few award winners on our payroll. Matt's trying to look modest over there. So yeah, that is us. So in terms of like the next steps into your training journey, particularly if it's down that apprenticeship route, I've done a blog, so we'll send you that afterwards. But a little bit of a blog about sort of that apprenticeship journey and some general tips about just marketing and a career, not coming from a dinosaur, and the things that I've learned along the way. It's really important that you speak to your manager because particularly for an apprenticeship, we absolutely need their commitment, their buy-in to support you. We need them to be able to give you opportunities in the workplace. We need them to be able to think of little mini projects that you can do or new tasks that you can do to flex those new skills. It really is, I can't stress enough how much of a collaboration it is. Any of you that have joined us today are very, very welcome to pop down, come and see us, or if you want to set up a Zoom chat to chat about things in a little bit more detail, we'd be very, very happy to do that. Our next cohort of learners for level 3 and level 4 starts in September, and our marketing manager cohort starts a little later in October. And then if you really do want to get the wheels in motion, we go through a process that's called onboarding. There's a reasonable amount of paperwork.
Yeah.
But Emma, who does the onboarding, does it in the nicest of ways. There are certain, as you can imagine, something that is funded by the government. There are certain forms to fill in. We will do an initial assessment. That sounds hideous. It's just an Excel spreadsheet to make sure that what you are going to learn is new skills. Yeah, the onboarding is pretty pain-free. There's just a lot of signatures in a lot of places. But yeah, the discovery call really is a really great place for you to ask any questions and to get a better idea of the course that is specifically right for you. So now it's time for any questions. Does anyone want to ask us anything? We have a little look in the chat. Oh, Jackie, we might have you in as a keynote speaker. as a fellow dinosaurs together.
Happy to do it, Laura.
Yeah, I'll drop you a message about it.
Yeah.
Rough start date for level 3, 4. Yeah, twice. A very rough start date of the 26th of September. Yeah, so we need to get, if you did want to join us for the 26th of September, we just need to get your onboarding done beforehand. So just drop us a message with some dates that you and your line manager is available to do onboarding, and we can get you onboarded for that. Yeah. Anything that you want to add whilst people are thinking of questions?
Can't think you put me on the spot there.
I know I did, sorry.
I don't think so. I personally, an apprenticeship was the best route for me, because I went to sixth form, I didn't like it. I just wanted to get into the workplace really. So if you're keen to get into the workplace, an apprenticeship's definitely the right route.
It's very nice to be earning money.
Yes,
whilst you're
and get
actually studying.
experience.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people my age have gone the traditional route and are just finishing university now, whereas I've had 4 years of pay and experience, which stands you in quite good stead.
Yeah. Do you need any existing qualifications? No, there's no qualification requirements. If you have your English and maths qualifications, that is a bonus. That would be lovely. But if you don't, that is also fine. You will do those with us alongside your apprenticeship. If you would need to look at kind of what your current qualifications are, just to make sure that you are going to gain a substantial amount of new knowledge from the apprenticeship. But no, there's absolutely no kind of prerequisite for qualifications. There is a bit of a myth that if you've got a degree, you can't do an apprenticeship. That is totally wrong. We have learners who have got degrees, masters and PhDs, but are doing apprenticeships in different subjects, and therefore they're getting lots of new knowledge and skills. So yeah, pre-qualifications, absolutely no requirement whatsoever, but you do need to have English and maths at a level 2 by the time you get to endpoint assessment. So if you've got that already, cool, we'll just need to see your certificates. If you've not got that, also cool, you will just do your qualifications through us in addition to your apprenticeship as well. I will answer a question that no one's asked, but I do get asked it all the time, is what can you do as what we call off the job hours? So that's 6 hours, minimum of 6 hours a week that you do. We refer to it as off the job. I don't say, when I say we do, but that's because the government refers to it as off the job. And it's really confusing because actually you're doing those in your job. Anyway, those 6 or so hours consist of doing your weekly workshop here. But then anything that you are doing where you are either flexing those new skills or researching or learning or doing something new. So if, for example, you have come to a workshop and that week's workshop has been focused on search engine optimization, and you've suddenly realised that you need to go and research your keywords and hatch up a little plan to revisit some of your web pages. You then doing that in the workplace, the time it takes you to research those keywords, to come up with that plan for the website and then do your tweaks to the website, that can be counted as your off the job hours. So we're not expecting people to participate in every single marketing webinar that they can find online, read every single book or blog that's about marketing. In those 6 hours, it really needs to be a way for you to express that you are consistently learning in that time, but also doing some of the things that you've learned about throughout that apprenticeship as well. So we have a little it's a off the job tracker. It's basically an Excel spreadsheet again, that you fill in each month, and you email it to my colleague Emma, so we can keep a record of you doing that 6 hours, because that is what the government are paying for. They're paying to give you that 6 hours of training and qualifications per week. It doesn't, we encourage our apprentices to log it sort of weekly and monthly. It averages over the programme. So don't think, if you're going on a holiday to Ibiza for a week, you're going to have to do 6 hours worth of marketing studies. I mean, you do you, but I wouldn't be. So it averages out. What we don't want is learners not to do it, and then it's all crammed in at the end of their qualification and it all gets a little bit messy. So just getting into that habit of doing it. Millie was obviously, she's the most organised person I've ever met. So
thank you.
That tracker was in.
Yeah, that's a big piece of advice. Anything that you need to log, make sure you log it at the time.
Yeah.
Because if not, you get to the end and you'll be like, I can't remember what I've done.
Yes. So get into the habit of logging and sending it over. So yeah. Oh, I got a question in. Sometimes you're going to ask, who are the different apprenticeships designed for? So this is a really good question. So the level 3 quals that we do, so it's currently the digital exec, but it might move to multi-channel marketer. And that's very much geared towards someone that is really operational. They perhaps might be managing the social media, they might be doing web updates, and they might be working on campaigns. And by campaign, I don't mean, anything humongous. It could be a typical task, could be that you have been asked to do an email campaign. So you might be pulling together the data and the content to send out some e-coms, for example. So that's very much what that kind of level 3 looks like. The level 4, the marketing exec, focuses a little bit more on those things, but actually how you coordinate those activities. So at that marketing exec level, the standard is much more geared towards someone who might be pulling together a kind of multi-channel marketing project. So that exec is responsible for designing and executing a campaign where they might be using a bit of social media, they might be doing a little bit of media relations, they might be doing some SEO, some blog writing, whatever it might be. And it's a little bit more focused on how they, as a marketer, coordinate and pull together those campaigns and execute them. The marketing manager, so that is a level 6. That is, as the name suggests, geared towards someone that is working or aspiring to work at a marketing manager level. It ideally is for someone that has line reports or team members that they're working with, and they've got ideally a budget that they're managing and working towards as well. The marketing manager is pitched at someone that really could end up being a head of marketing or a marketing director or a chief marketing officer. And there's a lot of in-depth analysis. So that covers things like innovation, for example. So if you as a marketing manager had the autonomy and the responsibility to innovate and create some innovation for your business, that's a big kind of key part of it. It also looks at how you might overcome and manage things that aren't going so well. So if, for example, you are managing a team and there might be a little bit of team conflict, for example, how you as a marketing manager would manage that situation. So I hope that's answered that one. Kind of the marketing manager apprenticeship if I'm already a marketing manager. Yes, you can. If you've got to a marketing manager's position and you've taken a completely different qualification route, which is pretty common, to be honest, you absolutely can do the marketing manager apprenticeship. Or if you are not quite a marketing manager yet, It's sometimes quite common for someone to be a marketing manager because they are the only marketer in the business. So by default, they are the marketing manager. Then we just need to look really carefully at that, just to make sure that you have the opportunity in that role to do the things that the standard requires. So you might be a marketing manager, but if actually your day-to-day is a bit more campaigns related, then it's probably the marketing exec would be a better decision to do first. Then we've got what's involved in EPA and how Levy assessed. So EPA is different for each individual standard. What it typically involves is a project that allows you to express and demonstrate and showcase the fact that you are working at that level. So, for example, if I'll take the current marketing exec, because we know that that's the one that's not changing. When you're a marketing exec and you get to EPA, you create a project. So you, alongside your line manager and myself, I'll stick my oar in to the conversation, will think of a project that you can do in real life, in real time, in your workplace, that will help you to demonstrate that you have done, all those things in your standard. You then go and run the project for real. You write a report on that at the end, and then you present that report to an independent assessor. So everything that we do, all your assignments and the EPA process, we don't do that in-house. That's all done by an external assessment team. EPAs often include a professional discussion as well. So the length of that discussion depends on the standard, but it feels a bit like a job interview, doesn't it?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I always think as well when describing the EPA period and assessment, it sounds really scary, but when you go through it, it's not.
Yeah, it's not at all.
No, I was worried about it, and when I got to it, I was like, this is not as hard as or as scary as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, Matt was midway through it. I'm not sure he's feeling that vibe right now, but Matt will be fine. It's not as scary. We have to talk about it loads because we have to. That's one of the things that we're audited about. We need to make sure that every learner. So it's usually like people build it into this huge, massive thing. Yeah. It's not. No. Was your assessor friendly?
Yeah, and as well, one of the really key bits of information that Emma gave me was they don't want to see you fail. They just ask more questions to get more information out of you. Yeah. It's not because they want to trip you up or make you fail.
Yeah. So when you get to EPA, you can get either a pass, a merit, or a distinction. And like Millie said, they don't want you to fail. So they might kind of ask you further questions, but in that scenario it's probably because you've answered to a pass criteria and they want to get you up to a merit, or your answer has been sufficient for a merit and they're trying to get you up to a distinction. And we would never put a single learner through EPA if we didn't feel confident that they can absolutely smash it, because we have an impeccable record that we like to uphold. So we like to make sure that everyone's kind of on the right page. So we've just got another question. So you've got a candidate who has done a digital media degree. Would that be okay for the digital marketing? We just need to have a look at what that degree covered. Digital media it means a whole world of things, doesn't it? So yeah, we'll just need to make sure, I'll just have a look at how much marketing content that actually included. A digital media degree, if that was more focused towards maybe film production, that kind of digital media-esque, or even on the graphic side, it might be if they only just did like one module in marketing, it wouldn't compare to what they'd be able to get through a marketing apprenticeship. Yeah, my gut feeling is she'll be absolutely fine, but we'd just do an initial assessment just to make sure as well, because again, that is one of the things that we're audited on as well, that we're not just getting learners, we're not a bums on seats organisation. So we absolutely need to make sure that our learners are all getting something new from it. Okay, any other questions? I don't think there is. Fabulous. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. Like I mentioned, we will send out a link to the blog, to the recording, and to the slide deck as well. And if anybody needs any information or would like to join us for that cohort at the end of the year in the autumn, please do. And thank you, Millie, for being the superstar that you are.
Oh,
As always. As always. Right, thank you. Take care, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day, and hopefully I will speak to you soon.